It was like I need to leave the stage right now, or there's going to be a problem. So, can you imagine
these
that?
These are not your normal butterflies, folks.
Right. As a performer, you could understand what kind of nightmare hell that is. Literally, the show just started, and I'm sitting there with my guitar. So, what do you do? So I literally stayed there as long as I could, and literally was like not moving. It was just hell. And it's just like, okay, another song. Start the song. Let's go. Come on, let's go. So somehow I made it through half. There was a first half and a second half, and in the middle of the first half there was a drum solo.
Aha!
So, but of course we're in the round. So he starts the drum solo. I run off the stage. And I literally have to go through the crowd because we're in the middle of the arena. There's no backstage. The backstage is off to the
far away.
So I'm saying, excuse me. I'm going through the crowd. Excuse me. And we're wearing, mind you, green tartan suits for the first half. Rod had us, I'm not. There's no way I'm slipping by
You're
anyone.
Not invisible here.
No. And so I made it. And then I had to run back through the crowd. As the drum solo was winding up, and the stage manager was like, "Come on, we're about to start." But I just made it, But
wow.
that was a never-ending source of humor for the rest of the tour. I showed up.
Imagine.
I showed up for soundcheck, and there was like a Depends sitting on my amp and things like that. So, ever since that day, I don't ingest anything before I play, let alone creamy cocoa. I don't know why it dawned on me that would not be a great thing to drink. 3 cups of it before,
Yeah.
But that was a hell story. But thank God I got through it without anything bad happening.
Though it is like.
I mean, it's a 2-hour show. It's a 2-hour show. So like at that point, I'm like, you know what? I need to take some responsibility in like what I do leading up to the show. It's not just fun and games and then go play the show. It's like,
right.
Plus, as you age, these are things that you need to consider. Having a good meal, being rested and all these things. So I was at that point where it was at that point I was like, you know what? I need to maybe start thinking about a pre-show routine that I don't veer from so that I have a good show,
No, this is I know we're laughing about this, and thank you for putting yourself on the spot for that. But like, it brings up a very real thing that, as someone who's performing routinely, you have to think about this because there is almost nothing worse than being on stage and realizing that you have a biological imperative. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And it sucks.
It wasn't something I had really thought about until that moment.
And that's a heck of a moment to.
It's a heck of a moment to learn your lesson. I'm glad it wasn't worse than it was, but it was a scary enough experience for me to be like, from now on, we're gonna have a plan.
Yeah. But people laugh at me when they know that it's like, okay, well, I do this, and before the show, I often, not always, but I'm often singing as part of gigs, and so it's like, I mean, it's good to stay hydrated anyway, but certainly if you're singing, especially where I usually get stuck with the high harmony, it's really good to be hydrated and all that stuff. But there is a balance to doing all that, right? Sweat is a great moisture eliminator, but it doesn't kick in the moment you step on stage. You need to give it a little time. Correct. And people laugh at me, and it's like, oh yeah, I gotta. It's like we get, we get places, or whatever version of places exists in your world. But it's like now it's time to go, and it's at that moment on the way to the stage that I pee, and it's like I have to have my pre-show pee, and it's got to be as late in the game as possible, whether I have to go or not. Yeah, it's irrelevant.
We do a thing with Matchbox. We do a thing, and we circle up, right? Sometimes we don't always get in the circle, but we say, "Oh, hey, time." We get texts, 10 minutes to circle, half hour to circle, 10 minutes, 5 minutes to circle. So we go We go there, we connect, you know, we get in there. Sometimes we huddle up, sometimes it's just a connection. And then literally when we break, we do like a break. And then literally the tour manager was like, all right, pee, everyone, you know, it's like literally like do your last pee. We all do it.
It's on the schedule.
It's you know, like, all right, now, you know, let's go to the stage, hit the bathroom, let's go. Like it's part of the thing.